We are live for another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Perth. I believe we have 14 fights to talk about. It's a stacked card, and it's a card that I'm really looking forward to. I have a ton of bets already, more than I would like, but it is what it is, and there's still a few more spots that I'm targeting. As always, if you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, you can only get those at the House of Stims Discord. Link is in the description of this video. And before we dive on in, I'll do a quick recap of last week's Dana White Contender Series, or yesterday's Dana White's Contender Series. I only had two bets. I had a bet on Jessica Chavez, and did she win that fight? Debatable, but I'll take it. I think at the end of the day, that was the right side. She was, up close to plus 200. I had her at plus 195, and people were completely fading her based off of no tape. They had all these crazy opinions off of one fight where she actually looked pretty good. So it is what it is. I'll take the win. And then we had the L on the Justice Reyes decision, half unit for plus 300. He got killed, so that wasn't even close. Profited just about a half unit because I didn't play Jesla big. It was at 0.55 units. I'll take it. Small profit. Honestly, I just wanted to get back in the win column because it's been a little bit tough these last few weeks, and hopefully we can keep that going this week. So let's jump right into it. Please hop in the live chat with me. Talk to me. Always way more fun that way. Leave a like, leave a comment. That always really helps if you like my stuff. And yeah, let's jump into it. First fight of the night, we've got Loma Lookboonme versus Alexia Thainara. Loma 10-3-0. She's going to be 29 years old, 5'1" with a 61.5-inch reach. Thainara 12-1-0. She's going to be 27, 5'4", so she's going to be 3 inches taller, and she's going to have about a 6-inch reach advantage. So interesting matchup. Loma's good. I've never quite been that high on her. I just feel it's not that I'm not high on her. Like, I think she's good. I think she's a good mixed martial artist. She's clearly good at Muay Thai. She's caught up in the grappling to an extent. She's got good trips. She can get on top. She's got some solid submissions now. Decent jiu-jitsu. That's picking up. And the striking's good. You know, I would like that her hands were a little bit better. I would like if she improved the boxing a bit more. But her kicks are really nice. She'll kick all targets. She mixes it up really well. And they're all very fast. And then she's good in the clinch too, as long as she can control her opponents. The problem with her and why I'm not that high on her is that she's very small. She's very short. She's got a tiny reach, and she struggles at range. That's like one of the main issues for me, and that's why I tried to fade her with Bruna Brazil. That's why I tried to fade her with Estela Nunes, and I came damn close both times, so it is what it is. Now, this isn't the same kind of spot because Loma's the underdog now. She's not the favorite. Thainara's minus 230, I think, around that range, and it's pretty interesting. Like, my gut reaction was like, is that wide? But then I was looking at it, and you know, Thainara is also very good. She's newer to the UFC. She's not as experienced in the octagon, but she's got just about she's got exactly the same amount of fights. I think that she's a tough stylistic matchup for Loma because Loma's strongest in the clinch, and Thainara is really strong in the clinch. And I don't know how much Loma's going to be able to do there. And I feel like, if anything, Thainara is going to be able to out-control her in the clinch. So she kind of doesn't have that advantage that she normally does. And then, you know, she's a really good striker with really good kicks, but what gives a kicker problems? Crowding the space. And Thainara is constantly moving forward. Thainara is constantly putting her opponents on the back foot. So if she's stronger in the clinch, she's taking away the kicks. What does Loma have left? Is Loma going to grapple Thainara? I don't think so. Is Loma going to outbox her? No, she's not, because she just doesn't have a lot of boxing. So for me, I feel like Thainara is the side. I don't really want... She's the pick. Like, I think she's going to win. I don't want to say she's a side because I'm not really dying to lay minus 230 on her. Like, on one hand, I don't think she's a bad parlay piece because, like what I said, I feel like she kind of has Loma covered. The only thing is, like, Thainara throws kind of wide. And if Loma throws straight down the pipe, she's going to land first. But what's the issue there? It's Loma's reach. Loma can't reach if she throws straight down the pipe a lot of the time. So I kind of feel like Thainara has her covered. I'm not like running to the window to do it because I do respect Loma. I do respect her skill set. And if Thainara is not on point, you know, this is a fight that Loma probably could win. If Thainara is not out here, you know, landing takedowns constantly, or not constantly putting Loma on the back foot, Loma can start to compete. If Loma's able to keep it at kicking range, land her kicks, if Loma's able to mix in that clinch and Thainara is not stronger than her, she's going to be competitive. So I'm hesitant to bet Thainara, although I am thinking about it. Like I said, I do think she has her covered, and she has the better jiu-jitsu as well. I also don't hate the over 2.5. Like, I kind of expected this to be a spot where the over would be like minus 400. I feel like it usually is in a Loma fight. But because Thainara does have subs and she's pretty dangerous, that's why we're getting the line that it is. I don't really think she's going to submit Loma. So I'm kind of leaning towards, I rather parlay that over than parlaying Thainara, but it's something that I'm thinking about. I'm not sure. I might just leave it alone because that's probably the best practice. But I'll pick Thainara. I'm going to pick decision. I'll catch up with the chat and then we'll move on. What's up, Glenbot? Good to see you. Thank you for always tuning in. Same to you, Daz. Thank you for coming on. Thainara sub, let's go. Okay. What's the number? Let's see. But I don't like plus 275. Like, I think she's dangerous in the grappling, but like, who's she submitting? Molly McCann, who has no grappling, and women on the regional scene. So I don't know. I'll play 2-3 sub because Loma takedown defense and get ups are in round 1 are decent. Yeah, that's fair. Dropped out to retweet. Appreciate you, Glenbot. Be like Glenbot, Be like Glenbot. He's a good role model. I want to be like him as well. And we'll move on. All right, next up, we have a fight that was supposed to be on the Contender Series. They wanted more fights on Perth, so they brought it here. We have Brando Pericic versus Elisha Ellison, 2 heavyweights making their debut at the same time. The UFC has been signing heavyweights like it's their job. I think they've signed like 10 in the last few months, so they're really trying to redo the heavyweight division, and honestly, I'm here for it. I know a lot of people were sad about Martin Buday getting cut, but, like, yeah, he was winning, but was he putting on exciting fights? No. Was he going to be champion? No. So what really was the point of keeping him? If he's 7-1, you have to start paying him more. Just let him go. So I honestly can understand why they did what they did, and makes sense that they're trying to rebuild and try new things out. So Pericic 4-1-0. He's 31 years old, 6'5". Don't have his reach. Ellison on the other side is 5-1-0. He's 28, so he's going to be 3 years younger. Don't have his height, but I think based off of his opponents and measuring him against them, I'm going to guess he's like 6'1". He's not a big heavyweight by any means, and Pericic is going to have quite a big advantage. Pericic at City Kickboxing, so he's getting those good looks there. But from what I understand, they don't really have many heavyweights up there, so just something to think about. Anyways, this is a weird fight. Like, both of them have really similar losses. They both lost to older guys who are not athletic and just not that great. Randall Payment at least has a pretty good record, and he was able to just kind of get the sub over Pericic. It was grimy. Pericic had his moments. The Pearson fight with Ellison was just so weird because Ellison was the one who took him down in the first round. And it's just every time this dude Pearson ran forward in a flurry, it's like Ellison didn't know what to do. And that's how he got knocked down in the second round and then submitted. And it was a terrible look. But honestly, this one wasn't much better. So I'm looking at it and everybody's loving Pericic. Everyone's playing the crap out of him. And I get it. He's fighting at home. He trains at City Kickboxing. He's much bigger. He does have the better kicks. And he's the only one out of the two of them, I'm pretty sure, that has a submission on his record. So I get it. Ellison didn't look great in that loss. And he doesn't really look like anything super special. It's just, does Pericic really look like anything super special? If we're being real here, he's good. He's solid. He's going to get some wins at heavyweight. But to be honest, Ellison could probably also pick up some wins at heavyweight. That doesn't really mean a lot anymore. And when I look at it, I think the striking's pretty similar. I think if anything, Ellison might have better hands. I think Ellison is faster out of the two of them. I think Pericic has better kicks, like I mentioned earlier, and I think that he hits harder out of the two of them. But I give the speed to Ellison. Ellison's lighter on his feet because I think he's a smaller heavyweight. He seems lighter on the feet to me, faster. I'm not counting him out here. I don't think it's smart to count him out. It's a low-level heavyweight fight. I get it again. Pericic bigger, better kicks, fighting at home. I just don't know if that's enough based off of the tape we have. And there's not a lot, but based off of what we have, is it enough to make him minus, 230 now? By the way, my Wi-Fi bar thing is showing me unstable connection. So if I break off, that is why. And please let me know if that starts happening. Yeah, minus 225 on Pericic. I get it if you got him at plus money. I get it if you got him at minus 125. I don't necessarily get it as much at minus 225. I don't think he's some kind of like machine. And, both of them are green. So a lot of things can happen in this fight. Sloppy, low-level heavyweight fight. And Ellison's not bad. I don't think he's amazing, but I don't think either guy's amazing. And I think the speed could give Pericic issues. So I'm going to pick Pericic to win. Let's go sub. He club and subs him in the first round. But if I was to bet on this, I don't have a bet on it, but if I was, it would be on Ellison probably. And I am considering it. I'll be completely honest. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat. Gwenbot and Daz are having fun in here. Okay. Daz saying, I'm going to smash this. Brando's going to smash this guy in round 1. Okay, fair enough. I know a lot of people are sharing that sentiment. Brando could get knocked out round 1, 2 for sure, but he definitely better than Ellison. I guess he seems better, but does he seem like he's like minus 225? I don't know. Round 1 KO is only plus 175. Ends by KO or unders better. Yeah, I would rather like ends by KO, but I could kind of see a Pericic sub, which is kind of interesting. What are the numbers? So Pericic sub is plus 1,000. I don't hate that. I don't. And then like the later, what's like 1, 2? Pericic sub 1 is plus 18. Pericic 2 is plus 4,500. Don't hate those. That could be something. I have to think about it some more. It's a really volatile, low-level heavyweight fight. So if you're going to bet it, I think you bet it either the underdog or something like a Pericic sub where it's low likelihood, but again, you're playing into the volatility. All right, moving on. We have Luana Carolina versus Michelle Montague. Carolina, 11-4-0, 32 years old. She's going to be 5'7" with a 69-inch reach, and she is coming up to bantamweight. Now, Montague on the other side, she's going to be 6-0 undefeated. She's going to be 31 years old, so she's 1 year younger. She's going to be 2 inches taller, but she's going to have the same reach. And Montague's coming down from featherweight, where she was fighting in PFL. So this is a weird fight. It's like Montague's a huge favorite, moderate favorite if you listen to Tapology's way of saying it. Minus 220. She's like around that price. Yeah, minus 225. It's like on one hand, she can end up looking like that. I do think she can cover it. I think that Carolina's really improved her takedown defense, but I still think she can be taken down. I think her moving up a weight class, she might struggle with the physicality, and Montague's big and she's strong. She's used to even heavier women. So I do think that at some points, Carolina's going to be taken down. And because of that, I feel like at some point, Montague might end up submitting her and therefore covering her price. On the other hand, though, I mean, if you saw the Abby Montez fight, like if she's not getting those takedowns, she's not doing well. She has really no striking whatsoever. And you would think like American Top Team, I know there's a lot of grapplers there, but like they have some striking. Like you would think she'd develop something at least. She just doesn't really. And we're not talking about a 26-year-old. We're talking about a 31-year-old. Can she improve? Absolutely. But it's not going to happen as quick, in my opinion. And here, again, yeah, she can take down Luana, but if she doesn't, or if Luana works her way back up on the feet, Luana's a way better striker, way better. She's got a good jab. She uses that lead hand well. Sometimes she'll grab it and set up her own stuff. Solid combinations, good kicks. I don't love that she keeps the chin up high, real high, and she backs up in a straight line. But what is Montague going to do about it? You know, she's not going to throw a head kick to capitalize on Luana going backwards like this. If anything, that's something Luana would do. So to me, it ends up being super binary. You either have Montague coming out here, getting takedown, submitting Carolina, or Carolina keeps it on the feet and beats up on her. I lean towards, like, if I, like, for the pick, what am I going to fill out? I'm going to fill out Montague sub, I guess, 2, because I do think she's going to get Carolina down. I do think it makes sense for her to be a favorite. But if I'm going to make a bet, it's going to be on Carolina. I haven't yet. I don't think that you should do anything like Carolina decision. If you do it, just play the money line because she's much better on the feet. And can I see her knocking out a tired Montague? Yeah, I could. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, what's Montague round 3 KO? I mean, not Montague. Sorry, Carolina. Okay. That's good to know. That could be something. Because, look, it's not that Montague has bad cardio. She might. She hasn't really been tested all that much. The most she got tested was against Montez, and she did seem to get a little tired there. But she's coming on her debut. If she adrenaline dumps, if she has good moments early, but then ends up, not submitting Carolina later in the fight, she's not able to take her down. I can see Carolina putting her away, and she's plus 3,300 to do it. That's something that I have my eye on, and I am considering the money line on Carolina. I just have not yet, but I am going to pick Montague to get it done because I think the most likely outcome is Montague takes her down and submits her. I just think that you can't really lay minus 220, minus 230 when she's super, super one-dimensional and she's making her UFC debut against someone who's been here for a while and has been improving a lot as well. So it's Montague as a pick, but it's going to be dog or pass for me. Thank you, Daz. If Luana is over 2-1 by Friday, I think it's an auto bet. Luana, decision only. Yeah, I'd rather not play decision. Just decision only, maybe depending on the price, but I could see her finishing. That's the thing. All right, moving on. We've got Colby Thicknesse versus Josias Musasa. Thicknesse, he's going to be 7-1-0, 26 years old, 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. Musasa, 8-1-0, 26. He's the same age. He's going to be 1 year older, 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. So far, I'm 2-0 on Musasa bets. I bet him on the Contender Series, and I faded him against Vera. Because I think he's very green. He was fighting a very good grappler, and I figured at some point it might end up on the ground, and he could get submitted. Did I expect him to get rocked by a beautiful head kick? No, I did not, but it happens, and he did end up getting subbed, so that all worked out. And this is an interesting fight, On one hand, I do think that Musasa should get it done. He's just a lot more athletic, more powerful on the feet. If anyone's going to get a knockout, I think he's more likely. I think that his hands are a lot better. Thicknesse, you look at his striking, he has his moments where he's putting together decent stuff. He's got okay boxing sometimes, but he's primarily kicks on the feet. And do I think he's going to set up something like Carlos Vera did? Not really. And outside of that, I just think Musasa is a much better striker. I think he's the better striker. I think he hits harder. He's more likely for a knockout, despite Thicknesse being very durable. I think that his takedown defense is very, very solid for a guy this green. I played him against Vera. I played Vera against him because of the grappling advantage, but that wasn't because I thought he's easy to take down. It's just that Vera was plus 700, and if it did somehow hit the mat, I thought he'd have a huge edge. Here, it's is Thicknesse a better wrestler than Tanzalov? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Tanzalov is actually really good, in my opinion, and probably better than Thicknesse all around. And I would pick him to win against Thicknesse. But just in the wrestling, I don't think Thicknesse wrestles like him. And there, Musasa was able to stuff a lot of the takedowns. When he does get taken down, he's able to work his way back up on the feet. Again, that athleticism comes into play, but he also does the right things when he's defending. So I don't think Thicknesse is going to have an easy time taking him down. And then on the feet, again, I think Musasa definitely has the better hands, definitely has the better output, definitely has the power advantage. Only thing I'll give Thicknesse is maybe he has better kicks, but I just don't really feel like he presents much of a problem to Musasa on the feet. He has to get him down. He has pretty slick jiu-jitsu. He's shown that, but he doesn't really have the wrestling to get it there. So again, it could be a situation where it hits the mat somehow and then Thicknesse takes the back, but we're talking about plus... What is Thicknesse now? Plus 130 versus Vera, who is plus 700. So it's not the same. And if anything, I'd rather play Musasa. I feel like he's going to get it done. I think he has Thicknesse covered for the most part. He's very green. That's my concern. And you can say, yes, Thicknesse is also green. But the problem is Thicknesse is training with good training partners. He's with Volkanovski. Musasa's not. Musasa's still in Africa. He's trying to train there, and show he can make it in the big show while training there still. And I love it. It's cool. I just don't love it for him. I feel like he could advance a lot better if he was somewhere like Extreme Couture could be good for Musasa. Killcliff could be solid. I love Killcliff. Where else could you get? 4 Ounce Fight Club could be fun. They've been doing good outside of Justice Torres yesterday, but that could be an interesting addition there. They got the lighter guys. I just feel like there's way better camps for him, and I would prefer that. So that's my issue with him. That's why I'm hesitant, because I think he's got all the advantages here. Athleticism, striking, output, has the takedown defense to keep it on the feet, has the get-ups to get back up. It's just I worry about him making small mistakes and that costing him the fight. And he's not somewhere where I know he's learning and he's going to learn how to improve on those errors. I'm not convinced that he went back to his camp at home and is like, okay, had a coach who can tell him, okay, this is how you defend against what happened to you and you make sure it doesn't happen to you again. I don't think there's anyone in the room telling him that. And because of that, I'm hesitant to lay the chalk on him. I'm going to pick him to win. I think it's a decision. I've thought about the over. I've thought about Musasa money line. I haven't touched either yet, but that's where my brain is at. What's up, Drinking No Thanks? One of my favorite names in the business. Cheers, Mike. Thanks for the thoughts as always. Thank you for tuning in, brother. All right, we'll move on. We got Jamie Mullarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. Mullarkey, 17-8-0, 31 years old, 6 feet tall with a 74-inch reach. Bedoya, 14-4-0. He's 28. He's 3 years younger, 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach advantage. I'm seeing a lot of people on Bedoya, and to an extent, I understand. Mullarkey's been knocked out 6 times at this point. That chin is struggling. It's having a hard time, but I don't know. I was taping it, and I can't really tell you where Bedoya is better than Mullarkey. He's more durable, and he'll throw more, sure. But I don't rate his skills all that much. He has a very good leg kick, great leg kicks, but I don't think it's something Mullarkey can't deal with. And what does he have outside of that? I'm not really quite sure. I mean, he has very good output, yeah, but a lot of it is just nothing. And I'll be completely honest. I was there live when he fought Chaos. I had money on Chaos. I thought that Bedoya won. But I think if you run that fight back 10 times, Bedoya is not even looking like that most of the time. He didn't even win that time. I thought he should have. But I don't think that's a fight he wins often. I think Chaos had to be off there because I don't see it with Bedoya. I just don't see what he does all that well. If you're skilled and you can handle the pressure and the output, you're going to be fine. That's the problem with him. He's not some crazy grappler. Like, he trains at shootbox, but his wrestling's not great. His jiu-jitsu, like, I'm not seeing much of it. And again, with the striking, the hands are okay. They're decent. And sometimes he's got some pop to his punch, but he doesn't really have this crazy power that I would expect Mullarkey to have major issues with. Maybe he can pop him a few times and hurt him, wobble him, maybe drop him, I guess. But I'm just not really seeing it. And then from a skills perspective, like, I'm not super high on Mullarkey, but I think he's better. I think he's a cleaner striker. I think he's more put together. I think that he's got a great jab, a great 1-2 down the pipe, great combinations, and Bedoya's very hittable. And I think he can match Bedoya's output, especially because of the lack of defense on the Bedoya side. And if anything, Mullarkey could probably take him down too. Bedoya does not have great takedown defense, and Mullarkey's mixed in takedowns here and there. He did it against Prado. He did it against Naimov. And I don't see why he couldn't do it here either. He's the one fighting at home as well. So I'm going to pick Mullarkey. I'm not going to bet on him just because I don't like his chin at this point. And, you know, you get knocked out 6 times. Maybe it doesn't take a huge power hit puncher to knock you out anymore. I mean, Hawkbross did it. He's not a huge power guy. I do think he hits relatively hard, but he's not a big power guy, and he knocked Mullarkey out. So maybe Bedoya can. You know, because of that, I don't really want to get involved. And Bedoya is also 28, training at shootbox. Maybe we see big improvements. So for me, I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to pick Mullarkey to win, but I don't have interest on playing anything. Next up, we have Jonathan Micallef versus Oban Elliot. Jonathan is 8-1-0, 26 years old, 6 feet tall with a 77-inch reach. Elliot, 12-3-0. He's 27, so he's 1 year older. Going to be the same height, which is not correct. There's no way. I think Micallef is at least 6'2", so I think he's going to be at least 2 inches taller, and he is going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. So for me, this is a good fight. This is a good fight, and I went into it not really knowing what to expect from myself. I usually like Micallef, and I'm usually looking to fade Elliot. But Elliot is also usually a pretty big favorite, and the reason I fade him is because he often doesn't separate. But now he's at a pretty close line, and I think it's a good amount of recency bias. I think it's, on one hand, it's because he lost to Ko, and he lost to him so dominantly. I was there. Let's go. But you know, Ko's a very good grappler. I think people didn't really expect that out of him. And he was able to kind of just take Oban down and just keep him there. And I don't know that Micallef's going to be able to do something like that. He does have decent wrestling, but it's nothing crazy. And I just feel like he's not going to be able to take down Elliot the way that Ko was. And I don't think he's going to be able to keep Elliot there. And then when you look at the striking, it's like, yeah, he had a good fight against Josias on the feet, but he was just kicking. Like, literally just kicking. And Josias didn't adjust. Now he's not in the UFC. But I feel like Elliot is good enough to be able to adjust to that. And Elliot's not going to just sit there and let Micallef kick him over and over and over again. Like, I like that Micallef will go for the kicks first to the body and to the legs. And then once you start covering up down there and you start worrying about it, then he goes upstairs. I like that. And I like his scrambling on the ground. I like his jiu-jitsu. I think it's dangerous, but he doesn't really have much in terms of hands. He doesn't have much in terms of boxing. And if Elliot closes the space and takes away the kicking range from him, which I expect Elliot to do, Elliot's going to have the better boxing. Elliot's going to have more power. Micallef can be hit. He can be countered, and he doesn't really know what to do once you get past that kicking range. So, and on top of that, I think that if Elliot wanted to, he probably could take Micallef down. Micallef has good takedown defense. He has very good scrambling. So I do think Elliot takes him down, can take him down if he tries. I don't know that he can keep him there because I rate Micallef's scrambling. I rate his jiu-jitsu. But overall, you know, I'm looking at a line that's essentially pick 'em. It's close to evens, slight favorite Elliot, if you want to call it that. But I'm getting the guy who has more UFC fights, who has better striking, better offensive wrestling. And yeah, that's really it. But I'm getting him at minus 122, minus 125, whatever he is right now. I saw minus 118 even. I think I like that. So for me, it's Elliot. I'm not crazy about it. You know, it's like not my favorite spot in the world because generally I'm trying to fade Elliot and generally I like Micallef and he's fighting at home, but I just think I'm getting the better fighter by a decent margin at a very close line. So I think Elliot is a side here. Let's see what everybody else is saying in the chat. I'm not sure what this is from this guy over here. Glenbot saying Micallef Oban ends by sub might be cheeky. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Both of them are good in the grappling. All right, moving on. We have Andre Petroski versus Cam Rowston. Andre Petroski, 13-4-0, 34 years old, 6 feet tall with a 73-inch reach. Rowston, 12-3-0. He's 30, so he's 4 years younger, 3 inches taller, and he's got a 2-inch reach advantage. First thing I need to say, I saw some crazy thing online today on Twitter where some dude was saying, if you're confident in Petroski, you should be parlaying him, not laying the money line. Look, guys, I'm not the smartest person in the room, in the space. When it comes to understanding implied probability, I have a good understanding, I would say. I don't understand it the best out of everybody, but I understand enough where if somebody is telling you to parlay a minus 150 and that is the safer option, do not listen to them. Do not listen to them. How on earth does it make sense to parlay a minus 150 because you don't want the risk of laying chalk, but instead you're parlaying them, so there's 2 opportunities for your bet to lose? How is that less risky? Like, it's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, even if you think you have like an insane lock on the other side, why would you do it to a minus 150? Just lay the unit and a half and call it a day. Why would you It's just a crazy thing that I saw today. But regardless, let's break down the fight. So I'm kind of surprised that the line was this tight when it first, like, it opened like pretty wide. It was like minus 200 Petroski, but it quickly got tight. And I was seeing Petroski like minus 135, 140, 150. And look, I get it. Rowston's on a winning streak. He won his last fight in very dominant fashion. He's training at City Kickboxing. He's the bigger guy. He's fighting at home. And Petroski lost to Shabazian. But, like, come on. Shabazian is like a guy who's been in the UFC forever and has developed that counter grappling. That's been something he's had to focus on for a really long time because he kept getting grappled. Rowston just got to the dance. He knocked out a guy who was like 5-0, completely green, and in my opinion, not very good. And people are kind of acting like he's some kind of like Izzy or some kind of like Ulberg or even like a Navajo Stirling type striker. He's not. He's not. When you watch his fights in the regionals, where is he most comfortable? It's not even the striking. He prefers to grapple people. He's a solid enough striker. He has decent hands. He has good kicks. And sometimes he uses his range well, not all the time. But most of the time in his regional tape, you look at him and he's grappling. He's taking guys down. He's submitting them. And he does have solid jiu-jitsu. His wrestling's okay, but he's doing it to guys who aren't very good. And Petroski has fought much better grapplers than him. I do not think he's taking Petroski down. I do not think he's submitting Petroski. I think Petroski's a significantly better wrestler than him. I think Petroski's jiu-jitsu is significantly better than his. And the beauty of a guy like Petroski is once he gets you down, because of the jiu-jitsu that he has, his control is very, very good, better than an average wrestler's would be. So it's hard to get up once he does get you down. So it's like, what is the major advantage here for Rowston? If he's not really all this, like the striker people are making him out to be, which I'm fairly confident he's not, is he going to out-grapple Petroski? No, he's not going to. So then he has to outstrike him. And can he? Sure, if Petroski chooses to just box it with him or kickbox with him. But like Petroski's boxing's not bad either. If he closes the kicking range, he's going to be okay, I think. And I don't really see him just standing there letting himself being kicked. I think he's going to shoot the takedowns. And personally, I think he's going to get them. Like, I love Torres Finney. He's a great fighter. He's absolute comedy every time he fights, but like his wrestling's solid, but he's just very athletic and powerful. That's how he gets people down. Petroski's skill for skill a way better wrestler, and I think that if Finney was able to take down Rowston the way he was, I think Petroski's going to take him down, but Rowston's not going to be getting back up. I don't necessarily think Petroski subs him. I think he can. I just don't think Rowston's going to keep popping back up like he did against Finney. So for me, I like Petroski. I think he gets it done. I think he wins the decision, and that's what I'm going with. Let's see what we got. Dad's saying he never gets a Petroski fight right, and he leans Cam. Okay. Probably the overs. I don't hate the overs here either. 6'9" has Couch, Pericic. Oh, I'm Couch. Has Pericic, Musasa, and Ulberg. All right, I like it. To an extent. Liking next week a whole lot more than this one. Yeah, next week's card, UFC 320, is fire. All right, we're moving on. Next up, we have Navajo Stirling versus Rodolfo Bellato. Stirling, 7-0. He's undefeated, 27 years old, 6'4" with the 79-inch reach. Bellato on the other side, 12-2-1. He's 29, so he's 2 years older, 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So I'm not one of these people that's super low on Stirling. I'm not. I think he's actually quite good. I think he's a solid prospect. I think he's a good striker, good range management, solid speed, solid combinations, uses his range pretty well, and his counter grappling is decent, but it just hasn't been tested all that much. And then on the Bellato side, I get it. Like, he's not the prettiest fighter. He gets hurt pretty often, and he can make some stupid errors sometimes. But, like, to be honest, should we be making Stirling a minus, what is it? Should we be making a minus 235 against probably the best, not probably, against the best grappler he's fought to date, a guy who won't give him space, a guy who's always moving forward? I don't really think so. I think this is a dog or pass spot, personally. I really do. I think that Bellato has a major grappling advantage. Now, he doesn't necessarily always go to it, but in the past, when he's needed to, he has. And I think that here he probably will grapple. I think that he can take Stirling down. I think that he can submit him if he gets him down. And I think he can do damage as well. On the feet, yes, Stirling is a lot cleaner. Yes, Stirling can knock him out for sure. That's 100% on the table. He can knock him out. Are we sure Bellato can't knock him out, though? Bellato hits pretty hard, too. He's not as clean, but he's not going to give Stirling space. That's the thing. Stirling needs space. And he does have solid footwork, but Bellato's just going to keep backing him up. He's going to continuously be in his face. I think he's going to take away the kicking range. And because of that, I think he's going to land shots on the feet. Stirling's going to get uncomfortable. And I think Bellato's going to be able to take him down. So for me, I can understand why Stirling's the favorite. He's fighting at home, and he's a much cleaner striker against a guy who can be knocked out. But I also don't think Stirling hits all that hard. I don't think he's the craziest hitter out of like in the division. He's not like some insane power puncher. So I'm not convinced he's going to knock out Bellato early, and I don't really think he's going to do it late. So I'm kind of leaning towards the Bellato side. I'll be honest. I think it's a dog or pass, and I think that when you look at it, who has a really, really big advantage on the ground, it's Bellato. So you give me a guy who's plus 200, has a much better grappling, is going to bring the pressure, is not going to give Stirling space. I'm going to be pretty tempted. In terms of a pick, like, I don't know. I think it's a really close fight. I really do. You know, we're just going to go Bellato. We're going to go Bellato, and we're going to go Bellato sub 2. I think he win a decision also. I just think that the grappling advantage is really big here, and I think this is a really big test for Stirling, and people are kind of just counting out Bellato because he's had some weird results, but this is a show me spot, I guess, for Stirling, and at plus 200, I think you could do a lot worse than Bellato. So dog or pass for me, and we can move on. Let me see what everyone's saying first, though. Bonino has Navajo, KO, and money line. Okay. Bellato loves losing round 1. That's fair enough. I mean, it'll be tested, but Stirling does. I don't know. His volume's okay, but I just don't think he has a lot of power. I like Gamrot, I think, but I need to tape it. Overs. Well, that would be scary. Let's see what they are. I don't like the over 1.5 at chalk. No. Don't forget, Stirling against Ellison, he was like plus 400 to win that decision. So now they're kind of adjusting, but like if I'm wrong and Stirling does cover here, he probably knocks Bellato out, and then that over might not be a great bet. So that's the only thing. All right, we got the first fight of the main card. We got Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. Tom Nolan, 9-1-0, 25 years old, 6'3" with the 73-inch reach. Campbell, 9-2-0. He's 30, so he's 5 years older. He's going to be 3 inches shorter, and he's going to have just about the same reach. So super interesting fight. I was back and forth pre-tape, just like thinking about where I might be interested. And then I taped Charlie first, and I was like, okay, maybe I might like him. I remember Nolan being a bit chinny. But then I taped Nolan, and honestly, I think he should win this fight. I just think that, at 25 years old, he's clearly making improvements. He's a younger guy by 5 years. He's more likely to improve. And you look at the fight against Reyes, and then you look at the fight against Borshev, and in that short span, like the Reyes fight was a year and a month ago. So 4 months later, he fought Slava. He looked so much better against Slava. The striking, the grappling, he was threatening nice submissions. The jiu-jitsu is clearly being worked on. Like, he's making big leaps fight to fight to fight. And who's more likely to make another leap here out of the two of them? It's probably Tom Nolan. And when I match them up, like, can Campbell knock him out? Absolutely. I think Campbell can knock out Nolan. I think he could do it. But I think Nolan can knock out Campbell too. Like, they've both been chinned before. It's not just Nolan. Like, Nolan has been chinned. Yes, he's been hurt. But so has Campbell. And neither of them have great defense. I don't think Campbell's defense is all that better. And if anything, I think Nolan is the one that, because of his reach, because of his size, I know they have around the same reach, but when you're tall, that still adds up. You're able to lean over more. I think that Nolan's going to be, he's able to use it a little bit more. He's able to stay a little bit more safe. I like his defense a little bit better than Charlie's. And I just don't see where Charlie's that much better than him. I've seen some people maybe point to the wrestling. I think Campbell has decent wrestling, but I don't really think it's all that amazing. I don't think he's going to easily take down Nolan. I think Nolan has a lot more weapons on the feet. I like his clinch knees a lot. I like the way he mixes it up with the kicks. I think his combinations are really nice. He's got a great jab, a good 1-2 down the pipe. I think that he also hits really hard. Campbell hits hard, but so does Nolan. And I really liked what I saw from the jiu-jitsu department, too, in that last fight. I know he didn't sub Slava, but he had a few close attempts there. I just think, he's fighting at home, bigger guy, youth upside. Charlie also coming off of an injury. I don't remember what it is exactly, but I also think Nolan has more advantages on the feet. He's a cleaner striker and has more weapons. So for me, I think Nolan is the side. I lean towards kind of like a war of a decision, but I could see him knocking out Charlie as well. All right, next up, we've got the big boys. We got Louie Sutherland versus Justin Tafa. Sutherland is going to be 10-3-0, 31 years old, 6'3" with the 76-inch reach. Tafa, 7-5-0. He's 31, 6 feet tall, so he's 3 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So, not the prettiest record on Tafa. Tollison knocked him out. Carl Williams out-grappled him. And then he had the Lane win, the Lane no contest, and the Parker Porter knockout. Like, he hasn't been very impressive, to say the least. He's a bad minute winner. Pretty sure he's like 0-4 in decisions. He's got a lot of power. He's fast. I do think he's the cleaner striker in this fight, but he's just a guy who I'm not usually dying to bet on. Sutherland, on the other hand, like, he's interesting. You know, I think he is the bigger guy. I think that's an edge for him. If he decides to clinch up, I think he's going to be stronger in the clinch. And we all know that Tafa has nothing off of his back. Neither brother has anything off of their back. So I do feel like if Sutherland was to get on top, Tafa's going to struggle. Sutherland has decent ground and pound, decent control, and decent wrestling. It's just his wrestling's not that good. That's my only thing. Like, it's not that good. And his striking is okay, but I think Tafa's a better striker. I think Tafa hits harder and he's faster. So it's just like, it's pretty even. Like, I think the line's about right. You know, on one hand, I can 100% see Sutherland just coming out here, just kind of swamping Tafa, grinding him out, clinching him up, taking him down a couple times. I can see that 100%. But I can also kind of see Tafa sparking Sutherland personally. So I think the line's about right. I thought maybe I would like the over, but I also thought I'd be getting plus money on the over, and I'm not. It's minus 134, minus 160 on DK. Like, I'm good on that. I don't, because I could see Tafa winning this fight, and if he wins, I think it's going to be early. So that's why I don't really want to get involved on a over 1.5 at chalk. I wanted to play the over 1.5 at plus money because I kind of lean towards Sutherland winning, and if that happens, I think it's through the clinch and through the grappling. So that's why I lean towards the over, but I don't want to play these numbers, you know, and fight goes isn't nice enough for me to get involved at plus 195, plus 180. I thought maybe Sutherland decision if I got like plus 400, but again, they're kind of onto it. The books are getting smart. Sutherland decision, best number I see is plus 310. I don't hate that, but not enough really to play it. So for me, I'll take Sutherland decision. Greasy fight where he just clinches him up, takes him down a couple times. But I don't really want to bet the money line when I don't think he's the best striker and he's very slow, and I could see Tafa chinning him. So that's where I'm at. Glenbot saying the under 1.5 seems a solid play. Yeah, but like I said, I could 100% see Sutherland clinching him, taking him down, staying on top, and killing the clock. So not for me. I also just am not good at 1.5s. Unders, I mean. All right. Moving on, we have a really crazy line. We have Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny. Matthews, he's going to be 22-7-0, 31 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. On the other side, Magny, 13-0, 38. He's 7 years older, going to be 4 inches taller, and he has a 7-inch reach advantage. So why is Jake minus 600, minus 500, minus 400? Like, why is he such a big favorite? It does not make a ton of sense to me. Like, yeah, he looked really good against Shitty, but what really happened? He tripped him, took the back, and submitted him. Great moment, but does that happen often? Probably not. And I had Matthews there, felt great. Am I ready to make him a minus 500 over Neil Magny? Not really. Magny's still good. Like, who's Magny struggling with, right? Pratesh, huge power. Morales, huge power, also just elite. Gary, top of the division. Like, these are the guys giving Magny problems. He has an ugly record because he's fighting all these really, really good up-and-coming prospects. And when he's not, he's usually winning. That's the thing. He's usually winning when he's not fighting an up-and-comer. Zaleski, Mallet, and Mallet's an up-and-comer too. And then before that, there was D-Rod. He submitted. I mean, he has a win over Jeff Neal. Max Griffin, although I thought Max won that fight, but that's a whole nother story. Like, the guy, usually when he's not fighting a dude with crazy power, Magny's getting it done. It's because he's very tricky to deal with. He's very hard to get off of you when he clinches up. He's got a very good clinch game, and it makes for boring fights, but he's able to win a lot of minutes that way. And because of his strength and his length, he's able to take advantage. Because he's strong in the clinch, he's able to keep you there. With the length, he can bring up the knees anywhere he wants, to your head, to your body, it doesn't matter. And in the striking, he's pretty good too. You know, is he someone coming out here throwing crazy, beautiful boxing combinations? No. But does he have a smart lead hand? Yes, he does. He'll fight hands a good amount. He's got a good jab. He'll follow it up with a 1-2. His kicks are solid. I think that when you look at it, Matthews is a much better boxer for sure. He's going to be a lot more dangerous in the pocket for sure. But at range, I don't think he's that much better than Magny. Do I think he has the kind of power that usually gives Magny problems? Not really. And, you know, on one hand, sure, when Magny clinches up, maybe Matthews can dirty box a little bit and land those big hooks. I could kind of see that hurting Magny, like Magny deciding to clinch up, and then before he can even do anything, Matthews is just bringing his bell. That can happen. But I can also see Magny controlling the clinch and landing his shots and winning minutes that way. I can see that. I can see either guy taking each other down. That's another thing. I do think that if anything, Matthews probably a little bit more likely to get on top, probably a little bit more likely to find a sub. He is a good grappler, and Magny has been submitted a number of times. But again, everybody submitting him is also really, really good in that department, right? So we're talking Gilbert Burns, Shafkat. Before that, it was RDA. So for me, I guess what it comes down to is I don't think Matthews finishes him. All right. And then if he doesn't finish him, is he going to look like he's covering minus 500, minus 400? I don't necessarily think that's the case. So, and I don't agree, Bonino. I don't really agree with that either. Like, that's only the mallet fight. What other fight? Zaleski gave up, or did he get his bell rocked and then just wasn't able to recover? You know, I wouldn't say that his wins are just because his opponent. That happened with Mallet. I don't think that was the case with Jeff Neal. I don't think that was the case with D-Rod. I don't think that was the case with Max Griffin. Again, he shouldn't have won that fight, but close fight. Regardless, I understand why Matthews is a favorite. I could have understood up to like minus 200, but where it's at now is too much. Like, I'll pick Matthews' decision, but because I think it goes the distance, I feel like Magny's pretty live here. I don't have a bet on him right now, but I'm thinking about it. And I'm thinking about the over too. All right, so the next two fights I have not taped yet. Everything else I've taped. The next two I have not, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet and give you my pre-tape thoughts. Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares. Jack 13-4-0, 31 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Tavares 10-3-0. He's going to be 31 as well. Going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. Gut reaction early. I already taped Jack a little bit. I haven't gotten to Tavares. Gut reaction right now from where I'm at. Jack probably better everywhere. Should be the favorite. Should he be minus 300 when he's not really finishing often and not really separating all that much? I don't think so. Tavares, you know, good striker. I know that much. Good boxer, good output, good power. He's kind of one-dimensional in that he doesn't have a lot of grappling, but his takedown defense isn't bad. So if Jack isn't actively mixing in takedowns, I think this fight ends up playing really close. You know, I know Jenkins has really good leg kicks. Maybe that gives Tavares problems. Do I think Jenkins is going to get a leg kick TKO? No, I don't. I think that if anything, Tavares might hit harder with the hands. I'm pretty confident in that statement, actually, even pre-tape. So early reaction, pre-tape, it's dog or pass. I don't know where I'll be at once I fully tape it. Maybe I'm like, you know what? Jack Jenkins is for sure going to win. He's a good parlay piece. Maybe. But right now, my gut reaction is dog or pass. I just think that this fight probably goes a distance. I think it probably stays on the feet for the most part. And I think it's competitive there. So I'll pick Jack decision. But I'm going to wait until I tape it to give more of a confident take. And I'll do the same for this fight. We got Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Ersland. Jimmy Crute, 13-4-2, 29 years old, 6'2" with a 74-inch reach. On the other side, Ersland, 14-5-0. He's 33, so he's 4 years older. He's going to be the same height, and he's going to have a 1.5-inch reach disadvantage. Again, this is one of the two fights that I have not taped, this one and the one before this. So this is all pre-tape thoughts. Pre-tape thought, Crute should win this fight. I think the line makes sense. I don't think it's like egregiously off or anything like that. Is Crute a little bit of a dum-dum? Yes. Is Crute gassy? He can be. Yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, like, Crute's a lot better than Ersland, I think, just about everywhere. Maybe not in the striking. Like, the striking's probably pretty close. Ersland's a good boxer. He does hit hard, and we have seen Crute hurt before. And Crute does keep his chin up like this. But Crute's not a bad striker in his own right, and I think he's going to be competitive with Ersland. I don't really think Ersland's anything special. And then in the grappling, I think Crute's got a huge edge. I think he's the better grappler by far in this fight. Does he use it when he should? No, hence him being a little bit of a dummy. But he is a good wrestler, and if he decides to wrestle here, I think he should be able to take down Ersland, control him, and there's a good chance he can submit him, I think. So again, those are pre-tape thoughts, but that's what I'm thinking, and I'm going to go Crute sub. I apologize for that ringing. I think that is my wife's iPad, and I'm going to wait for it to finish ringing. We'll go sub 1 because if not, he's going to get too tired, and then we're going to get a decision or a draw. Can you pick a draw in here? No, you can't. All right, we're up to the main event of the evening. We've got Carlos Ulberg versus Dominick Reyes. Ulberg, 12-1-0, 34 years old, 6'4" at the 77-inch reach. Reyes, 15-4-0. He's 35. He's 1 year older. He's going to be the same height, and he's going to have the exact same reach. It's a really good fight. It's a really good fight. I'm really glad that Ulberg has gotten over this mental bump he had where he could not get over the John Jones robbery. He won that fight. I just watched it back again for like the 10th time. He won that fight. We all know he won that fight. He got robbed. The problem is he couldn't get over it and messed with his brain, and he went on a losing streak. But thankfully, he's turned it around, and I do believe that he's turned it around. And I'm not ready to say anything like he's washed or something. Like, yeah, he's 35. Okay, Ulberg's 34. He doesn't have that many more fights than Ulberg. He has not absorbed all that much more damage than Ulberg. I would say the only thing that stands out in terms of him taking big damage is like the Jiri fight, right? Because he took some big shots there. With Span, it was like a jab, which was a bad look. But again, I think his brain just was not right. And I think that when you look at it, this line doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. Like, before we get into everything else, Ulberg's never been 5. Ulberg's never been 5 rounds, and we've seen him slow down. Not just in the Kennedy Nchukwu fight. You know, he's slowing down in a lot of his fights. He's not slowing down to the point where he's getting finished again. He learned from that with Kennedy, where you can't just let it all rip in the first round. But I still think that his cardio is a question mark when we're talking 4th round, 5th round. He's never done it. All right, so that's the first thing. Second off, where's Ulberg minus 200? Is he the cleaner striker? Yes, he's a cleaner striker. I've always been very high on Ulberg. I've always said he's probably next up. But do I think he's that much better of a striker than Reyes? No, I don't. I think he's cleaner. He has a cleaner body of work. He puts together nicer combinations, a little bit more straight down the pipe. Maybe his output's a little bit better. But Reyes is a good striker in his own right. Reyes has really good kicks in his own right. He's got good hands, good boxing. His combinations are also good. And out of the two of them, I think he hits harder. Maybe his chin's a bigger concern than Ulberg's, but I think Reyes has more power out of the two of them. So when we're talking about a 5-round fight with them two, like it's probably mostly striking. I'll get into the possible grappling in a second, but it's probably mostly a striking affair. And yes, Ulberg's better, but I don't know that over 25 minutes he's going to be able to keep that up and keep Reyes away from, landing his own big shots and making it a very competitive fight. I think this fight's a lot closer to 50-50 than it is Ulberg minus 200, minus 220, minus 250. And then let's talk about the grappling for a second. Reyes doesn't wrestle all that much, but he can. He has solid wrestling, and Ulberg's shown pretty good takedown defense, but he also hasn't been tested all that much off of his back. If Reyes wanted to, he probably could do it. So when we're talking about the fact that Reyes has more power, he's competitive in the striking, he's the one with the 5-round experience, and if anyone lands takedowns, I think it's him. I feel like it's a clear dog or pass for me. And I didn't go into the tape thinking I would like Reyes. I didn't, because I've always been an Ulberg truther. I've only bet on him. I've never bet against him. But I think the line's just too much, personally. Like, I think it's too much. Yeah, but Span at least has power. Like, Span is a guy who can knock you out in the first round. Ulberg, I don't see him as a guy who's really a knockout guy. Usually, if he's knocking people out, it's because of the accuracy and the speed. He is very fast. He's a faster guy for sure, more accurate guy for sure. But look, that's not to say that the Span loss isn't a concern. It's a concern for sure, but we're talking plus 200, which I just don't think is right. So I'll pick Reyes. I'll pick Ulberg, but it's dog or pass for me. And I'll pick Ulberg decision. I don't think he's going to knock him out personally. If he doesn't do it early, which I don't really think he does, then I don't think he's going to do it at all. So I don't hate that the fight goes the distance at plus 300 either. I think that's pretty nice. But it's dog or pass for me, and I do think Reyes has a very good shot at getting this done. And that's it, guys. That's UFC Perth. We somehow got through it in less than an hour. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I'll run through my picks one more time. If you've got any last-second things you want to say or questions you want to ask, now's your time. Please remember to like the video, subscribe. That always helps. Leave a comment. That's even better. And I'll run through the picks now. We're going Thainara, Pericic, but dog or pass. Montague, Bedoya pass. Musasa, Mullarkey, Elliot, Petroski, Bellato, Nolan, Sutherland, Matthews, Bedoya pass. Jenkins, pre-tape. Crute, pre-tape. And Ulberg, but major dogger pass. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Peace out and good luck this weekend.